Jo, great to have you back on InvestorStream. Obviously an outstanding quarter for Bod, with revenue totalling $2.5 million Australian, which accounts for 42% of the financial year 2020's current total revenue. Can you give us the breakdown of where this revenue is coming from, and how much is coming from Australia and how much is coming from the UK?
Sure. Hi, Alex. Thanks for having me back. Currently, the revenue is actually pretty much evenly split in terms of medicinal cannabis, and then our consumer piece, which obviously we support and sell through to H&H. So yeah, it's actually quite 50-50. And then in terms of the split between Australia and the UK, when I look at the consumer piece and our CBD products, most of that revenue is coming out of the UK, because as investors know and your listeners know, that in Australia a CBD extract is not allowed to be sold to consumers. That's currently only via a prescription market. And then in terms of medicinal cannabis, it kind of flips. The most of that market or revenue is coming from Australia, because that's where we've established our first route to market. And then again, investors will know we moved into the UK sort of earlier in this part of the year, and we're the only company from Australia participating in Project 21 study in the UK, and that's a very significant study. And we've begun, our first patients on Medicabolus in the UK. So starting to see some good traction in the UK and revenue growing, but in terms of current spread of revenue in medicinal cannabis, the majority still is coming from Australia, and a reverse is true for the consumer piece.
Jo, you mentioned Project 21 there. As you mentioned, Bod issued the first prescriptions for Medicabolus to UK patients under the project in May. From a sales and brand recognition perspective, how is that progressing overall?
Look, I'm very pleased actually. It's early days, but I'm very pleased. I think Project 21 is a really important piece. And again, as I said, we're the only Australian company supplying medicinal cannabis to that project. And because ours is a low dose THC, it's often the preferred first line of treatment, because patients don't have that issue with THC and some of the effects that can have on them. So often our product is sort of first line of treatment. So we're well positioned with Project 21. They're aiming to reach 20,000 patients, and we have some guaranteed numbers in our contract. And whilst our product is on a compassion pricing, it's a solid margin that we get for that product. So it's a real revenue opportunity for us. And then quite recently, we've also moved into the private market in the UK, and I've been quite surprised, in a good way, how much that market's moving. And they estimate that the UK will be 4 times the size of Australia from a medicinal cannabis perspective.
So off the back of this successful quarter, how's your balance sheet looking?
Oh, look, I'm really pleased to say that we continue to bring our cash burn down. We have a very strong balance sheet with 6.3 in the bank, which basically gives us at least 7 quarters of cash. So, we're in a very strong position from a balance sheet perspective and capital perspective.
And finally, Jo, you've clearly had a great quarter. As we mentioned, accounts for 42% of the year's revenue. Is this quarter's result an anomaly, or is it a reflection, or a step change, if you will, of what Bod can deliver in the future?
Look, it's definitely not an anomaly. It's basically demonstrating the way and the direction that we're taking and the growth profile of this company. We expect that to continue, and that's driven by our relationship with H&H and basically the commercialisation of that transaction, the growth of our medicinal cannabis business unit, and that growth is underpinned by not only sort of new products coming to market, but the sell-through of those products entering into new markets. We're obviously in the UK, but we're expanding into other European markets like Italy, France and Netherlands. We're also looking to expand into the US. And then some people might know that in Australia, whilst you can't currently sell CBD extracts here other than via prescription, The TGA are making moves to downschedule CBD, offering a low-dose CBD to consumers over the counter, hopefully, but that's yet to be seen. But, there's certainly moves in this Australian market to align with best practice and align with other major markets like the US and the UK. So, lots of sort of macro things happening that will support our growth, as well as, just our business growing on its fundamentals that it has in place right now that we've worked hard to build.
Thanks, Jo. Congratulations on the quarter and all the best for the new financial year.
Thanks so much, Alex.